Okay, Cassandra, you wanted the recipe for the macaroni and cheese, so here it is. Um, the way we make our macaroni and cheese, it's easier for me to show you. I can tell you the ingredients, but it's easier for me to show you. I'll send you the ingredients list anyway. Um, so when you make a macaroni and cheese, you can use whatever dish you want. I've made it in something like this. I've made it in this. I've even made it in this little individual serving size. But generally, this is what I use, and it's good for 4 people for like 2 days. So that's that. So why don't I get started here? I'm just gonna move these other dishes out of the way that I'm not gonna be using. So for today, we're gonna start with this dish. You need eggs, cheese, milk, nutmeg seasoning. I use the Mrs. Dash table blend, but if you want, you can just use salt and pepper or whichever flavor you prefer. Macaroni, little cut ones. Some butter or margarine. Measuring beaker. A little bit of oil. So, to get started, you boil your macaroni, and once it's boiled, you strain it, and then it's ready to go into the dish. The dish, just lightly grease the dish that you're going to be using. So I've already done my macaroni, it's here, and now I'm going to put it in to my dish. So you just scoop it out, spread it out on the bottom. Doesn't have to perfectly cover the bottom. It's something like that, and you'll keep doing it in layers. The cheese, you can use whatever cheese you want. You could use a double cheddar, you could do a cheddar mozzarella, you could do a mozzarella, you could do a Tex-Mex, you could do a habanero, whichever cheese you feel like using. So I'm going to do the double cheddar right now, and if I run out of it, it's not a big deal. I'll just grab from the other cheese that I have, and you just sprinkle it over the top of the macaroni that you've already placed in the dish. Now you don't want to do too much cheese, because then it's all going to stick together. You want it to be somewhat loose. So that's what it looks like there. And we'll keep doing it until we get to the top. You don't want it to be too compact. So there's my second layer of the macaroni, and we're going to do some more cheese. Again, just a little light sprinkling of the cheese, not too much. We'll just keep going. So this is going to be my top layer of macaroni. So I'm getting pretty close to the top here. So I'll just call this my top layer of macaroni. Now for this size dish, I'm using the entire box of the macaroni, and this is a 500 gram. And this dish here is about a 6x9 Pyrex dish. That looks good. Now I've got a little bit of cheese left here, so I'll use it, and then I'll probably open up another one to finish it off. So if I know I'm going to be mixing cheeses on the top here, I'll just loosely sprinkle the last little bit of cheese here, so it's not all on one side. And I'll grab the other one. Sometimes a different cheese on the top gives it a nice flavor. So when you bite into it, you'll get the flavor of one cheese on the top, and as you move through it, you'll get the flavor from the other cheese that's mixed in the layers, which is actually really nice. Now, depending on how you like the top of your pies, we like ours nice and crispy, so we usually do a lot of cheese on the top, so we can have that nice crisp layer, nice and crunchy, crispy layer on the top of the cheese. Okay, I think that's good. So this is what we have right now. Okay, you can kind of see the layers if you look closely through there, but that's what we have right now. Now at this point, I'm going to do my egg and milk mixture. So you're going to start off with one egg. One egg to 200 milliliters to 2 cups of milk. Now at this point, I'm going to take my table blend. The nutmeg is one of the last things we do. I'm going to take my table blend, and I'm just going to sprinkle some in there. And then I'm going to fill up to 2 cups. And I'm going to grab a fork. And I'm just going to whisk the egg into the milk. Now the egg and milk mixture is going to help to bind everything together. So this I would consider one mixture, 1 egg to 2 cups of milk. Now depending on the dish you're using, the smaller the dish, the less you're going to use. But I always go with 2 cups of milk. So when I'm doing individual sizes like this, I'm going to do 4 of these. So I'm still going to use 2 cups of milk and 1 egg to make 4 of these. The other dishes that I showed you earlier, you're probably going to use more than 2 cups of milk. So I will do 2 mixtures of 2 cups to 1 egg each. So I'll start with this. It's nicely mixed in, and I'm just going to pour it over the macaroni. Now for this size dish, I know that I'm going to use more than 2 cups. And I'll do another egg. This one I hit pretty hard. I gotta get the shell out. Okay, there we go. Okay, mix that in, a little bit more seasoning. Okay. Now, if you look, you can see the level of the milk mixture, and that's about where you want it to be. You don't want to get it too close to the top, otherwise it's going to, when it cooks, it's going to overflow, and you're going to end up having burnt milk in the bottom of your oven. So this is where we're at right now. We're done with the eggs, we're done with the milk, done with the macaroni. Now we're left with the nutmeg seasoning and the butter or margarine. So at this point, I usually have a tomato. I forgot to pick up a tomato, but I usually have a tomato and I slice it up, nice thin slices, and I'll place it across the top of the macaroni pie. So for me, I would have 9 slices, and it'll be 3, 3, and 3. And then once that is on, actually, if you're going to use tomato, put it on before you throw the egg mixture over the top. So now at this point, I'm going to take some butter, and I'm going to put pieces of butter all over the pie. By putting the butter over the top, you're going to help it crisp up a little bit. Okay, so now that I have my butter placed on the pie, as you can see there, I'm going to take my nutmeg and I'll sprinkle over the top. So while you're putting the pie together, you can preheat your oven, 350 degrees. So I'm going to try not to spill, but that's what it looks like there with the nutmeg over the top. Now I've already preheated my oven, it's good to go, and I'm going to put this into the oven and we'll get back and see what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so here we are. The pie was in the oven at 350 degrees for half an hour, and then I turned the oven off and I left the pie in there for about another 10 minutes. You can, depending on how brown you want it or crispy you want it on the top, will depend on how long you let it sit in the oven. However, you could also turn the bake function off and turn on the broil function to get it nice and brown quick on the top. But with this one, I put it in for half an hour, turn the oven off, let it sit for about 10 minutes. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's it. Cassandra and Jamie, give it a shot, try it out. Put your own spin on it. This was actually my mom's recipe, and she always made it when I was at home. But when I moved away and I was on my own, and I started making the macaroni cheese pie, the first few times I made it exactly the way my mom makes it. But then I kind of put my own spin on it, and it turned out really well, especially when you have tomatoes on top. Even my mom says that it's better than the way she used to make it. So that says something. But yeah, I encourage you, try it like this, and then, put your own spin on it. I'd love to try one of yours sometime. And that's it. Take care. We'll see you later.